Hey everybody, and welcome back to Mondays with me, Dr. Crystal, and today again with my beautiful wife,
me, Dr. Heather.
So you agree? You think you're beautiful?
My mom told me I was beautiful.
You are. Your mom was right. So I don't want to make my whole channel about our fertility journey, but it's the beginning and we have a lot of stuff going on and happening quickly, so we want to update you guys, get back to some different kinds of videos in the coming weeks, but for now we want to tell you about our first appointment and what has happened since then. Yeah. Does the prospect of children bore you?
It makes me tired.
We will tell you about our first appointment after this. All right, so we had our first appointment and we were actually able to be together.
Yes.
It was really nice because Heather had a no-show, right? You had a no-show, so she was able to come over. So here's a little clip from just before our appointment because we were excited. Heather was able to make it over for our appointment. She was able to sneak away because she had a cancellation, so I'm excited. I'm nervous. I have butterflies.
Me
Do
too.
you?
That's why I wanted to come with you if I could.
Yay. I love you.
I love you too.
Let's do it. We gotta log on. It is 2 minutes from our appointment time.
Let's do it. So it was nice to be able to sit next to each other and hold each other's hand.
Yes.
And be there for each other.
Obviously,
in person.
we were very excited because it's just a lot different to be able to be with each other rather than be with each other virtually, which we know a lot about doing long distance for so long. I'm done with virtual stuff. I want to be with her. We had our first visit and it was exciting.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell a little bit about what happened and the answers we got to some of our questions?
Well, I really liked our doctor.
Yeah, she was awesome. Interesting story. The way we found our fertility doctor, there's not really any around where we live, so we had to go somewhere near a bigger city. So our choices are like Chicago, Indianapolis. We could go up towards Michigan, but there's not really any fertility specialists in this area. And so I follow a fertility doctor on TikTok, and she just happens to work in Indiana. So I messaged her and asked if there was somebody around here, and she said her. So we found our REI doctor on TikTok, which I think is really cool, but we loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good first visit. I think we had a good vibe with her.
Agreed.
Yeah. How did she start out the visit?
She started out the visit by asking us questions about our medical history, like menstrual cycle, and based on those answers, she helped guide how the process would get started, just to make sure we were smart about it, making sure that we make the most of our money and time.
Right, because we ain't about wasting time up in here. We got eggs that are aging.
And I'm a bargain shopper. So.
Yes, that's true.
I don't always.
They have no coupons, but we are still going to try to make the best of our money. So after she asked us all these questions, she determined that we both have a few things that she thought might make us take a little bit longer to get pregnant. And so we both said some things that made her think we could potentially have a little bit of endometriosis and maybe some PCOS, which stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is something that's super common. We diagnose it actually a lot in primary care as well.
Yeah. And prior to her asking me those questions, I had wondered if I could potentially have those. So I wasn't entirely surprised when she brought them up.
So she asked us a little bit about our goals and how many kids we wanted, how we wanted to do it. And so we told her some of the things that we shared with you guys in the last video. So after we told her those things, she kind of said that based on us being the same age and the way we're hoping to do things, that it would make sense for Heather to try to get pregnant with her egg first. That way we know for sure that she's able to get pregnant and she's able to carry a pregnancy, because if not, then I'm up, put me in, coach.
At that point, she asked us, so when do we want to get started? And we said, we're ready.
Right now.
So then came to one of our biggest questions, was timeline for when we need to do what.
Obviously, we talked about last video, we need to find sperm. that's like the one thing that we don't have that we need to be able to make a baby. We actually learned something that we didn't know was going to go into our choosing process.
CMV status.
CMV status. So CMV.
What is that?
CMV stands for cytomegalovirus. It's a virus that's actually really common. A lot of times people get it and don't even know that they had it. They just know that they were sick. Kind of like mono, like people get it and they don't necessarily know that it's mono. But yeah, so it's something that people get. We diagnose it sometimes we don't diagnose it. But the important part in our situation is that is an infection that can cross the placenta. And there are certain infections that can and cannot cross the placenta, and CMV is one of them that can, and it's very common. So basically, she told us that there is a theoretical risk that if the sperm donor was CMV positive and Heather was CMV negative, that the sperm could cause her to have CMV and then pass it to the baby, which can cause birth defects. And she said she's not sure if it's ever really happened, but it's theoretically a thing that could happen. So we have to take it into consideration, which I did not know.
Me either.
Yeah, so she said we had to get blood work to figure that out.
After that first visit, we were really excited. And so we looked up some sperm banks, and it's crazy how many of the sperm donors are CMV positive.
She told us don't fall in love with any CMV positive donors. So we're like, we better not just look.
Yeah.
Or we better just not look. So as far as timeline, she told us that we had to do a few different things before we could try to get pregnant, which were
blood work. The one she especially wanted both of us to get was something called AMH, or anti-Mullerian hormone, which helps determine our egg reserve, how much we have left at this age.
Which is very scary. She told us about, like, which we already knew somewhat, but like how fast your egg supply starts to drop off, especially like after your mid-30s. So like we are quickly approaching that, which is a little bit scary. So yeah, that was the main one. And then also some other things.
Some other things based on our history that we gave her, like looking at thyroid, testosterone level, and then other infections like HIV, hepatitis B, things that would be risky for the baby. And then she also
CMV status.
Yeah,
that was step one, to get that blood work. We obviously have to pick a sperm donor. So the third thing, we kind of made a decision together that we wanted to do, because there were some signs that Heather could have some endometriosis. We wanted to check to make sure that her fallopian tubes were open, because if they're not open, the egg can't come down. And so a lot of people just don't know, like if you're trying to get pregnant naturally, you just hope that your egg is coming down. But because we're going to be putting a lot of time and money into this process, we wanted to know for sure that her tubes were open. So the way to test for that is to get a study where they use an ultrasound and squirt some saline inside and see if the bubbles go through the fallopian tube. So we decided we wanted to do that. That way we know for sure that we have open tubes for our eggs to travel down and meet with our little sperm donor sperm and make an embryo.
And to take a look at my ovaries to see what they look like.
I'm sure they're beautiful. I would love to see your ovaries.
And the last thing she touched on was that we should undergo counseling, because we're going to be using a sperm donor, and how to talk to the future children just based on things like 23andMe and how we and them are going to handle it.
Right, because like these days, there's a lot higher chance that they could end up finding, or it's just way easier to find somebody based on their genetic material than it was like even 10 years ago, which is crazy.
Which makes sense. Please give me all of the help.
Yes, I really would like to be as prepared as possible for that conversation. Like, I think we would handle it okay, but it's good to have somebody walk you through a good way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. After that visit, we walked out feeling really excited.
We were pumped! We're like, let's go! Let's make a baby!
Great start. And so we went to get our lab work over the following week. We were able to get scheduled for that ultrasound and the tube test study.
Tube test.
And we've done everything and got the results back.
Yeah. So the moment that you've all been waiting for, our CMV status, because that's what we were waiting for. Actually, I was more interested in our egg reserve. No, I was more
No,
interested
yeah.
in CMV status because they literally are all CMV positive. So we're both CMV negative. Literally, we looked it up. 50 to 80% of the population is positive, and we are negative. I don't know how we both escaped CMV, but you know, we're trying to stay positive. We are looking at it as a little bit of a blessing in disguise because it gives us a little bit less to look through because it's very overwhelming.
An
We're looking at
automatic
those
filter.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to think that we're just like lucky. That's how we never got CMV. So like, we're gonna make a baby with some other lucky sperm.
Exactly.
Our egg reserve. We both are like about where we should be for our age. So she said our numbers were a little bit high, which could potentially represent PCOS, but they were good. They weren't like super low or anything. So
And they weren't super high either,
Yeah.
which would be bad too.
We're perfectly average.
Yeah.
A little above. Heather went for her tube study, and her tubes are open. They're both open. So yeah, that is good news. So I would say overall, good news.
Yeah. We're further along the process. We are just checking off the boxes.
I'm proud of you and your tubes and your uterus.
Thank you. I'm proud of both of us for getting lab work. Especially you. You beat me. I couldn't believe it.
Heather had to go for the ultrasound study by herself, and I felt kind of bad because I had to work, but she went and she was a champ. They had to push something through her cervix to put the saline in there, and I felt so bad because she said she didn't think about it before she went, but I was thinking about it, but I didn't say anything because I was scared.
A little uncomfortable, a
Yeah.
little crampy. They described it like that, and that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. But how bad was it on a scale of 1 through 10? 0 through 10.
Probably like a 3 or a 4.
Okay, so not so bad.
Yeah.
Worth our future children.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I guess we gotta find our sperm donor now.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
I don't think so.
Are you ready to make a baby with me?
Darn right I am.
Let's do it! We hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, please don't forget to give it a like.
Subscribe if you haven't.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Peace. We need to find a sperm donor, someone to donate to our child.
Either an X or a Y.
An X or a Y to go with your ex, to make a boy or a girl.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you.